Hi, my name's Benjamin, and I'm here to comment on the children's rights video Silent Voices, which both my adopted son and myself had the honor of being included in the production of this film. I have prepared a written statement which I'm just going to read to you that talks a little bit about our experiences during the recording process and how children's rights campaign here in Michigan has already made a tremendous impact. My adopted son Christopher and I participated in the making of this documentary, as I stated. It was very, very difficult for my son to complete the filming because the pain that he felt during the process of talking about his past was clearly just below the surface of his fragile skin. Not dealing with real issues of having your entire family torn apart, and by failing to provide appropriate counseling and or reunification services by the Methodist Children's Home Society in Redford, Michigan, that would be the DHS contracted foster care agency who initially handled this family's case, has caused Christopher to want to just forget this has ever happened. Now that he and his brother are in a loving and supportive adoptive home, and most importantly are together at last, many problems have been posed to me as an adoptive father by the significant lack of reunification resources provided by the Methodist Children's Home and DHS, or the refusal by their agency to allow my family to participate in the agency's hosted monthly support groups. I fortunately serve on the State Foster Parent Association, MAFAC, which stands for the Michigan Association of Foster, Adoptive, and Kinship Parents. Through my role as Area 9 representative, representing a portion of Wayne County, and my position as a board of director on MAFAC, I was fortunate enough to find very qualified professionals to help our family through this journey of reunification. I have so much gratitude to MAFAC and all the people who voluntarily serve on our board and our incredibly supportive and loving membership. Without them, this reunification process has almost been seamless. I still question why Methodist Children's Home Society, a state and privately funded organization receiving millions of taxpayer dollars, could not or refused to facilitate this reunification, or at a minimum, invite us to participate in their existing support groups, rather than disallow our participation after the boys were finally reunified. The horrible treatment that Christopher and his siblings received while he and his siblings were actively separated by the agency, apparently not taking into account the severity of the impact that this practice would pose upon these children immediately and then years later. During the difficult reunification process, which I had to request by court order, since the agency who was so appallingly determined to keep Christopher from his only brother, Jay. The countless moves from foster home to foster home, the languishing for years in institutions, such as the Methodist Children's Home, where the children were, quote, chemically restrained with psychotropic medications as the solution to their problems and acting out behaviors, rather than dealing with the true underlying issues that these children were experiencing by the trauma of being removed by their families. The use of all these psychotropic drugs, which later was determined by a group of pediatric specialists, was a very dangerous cocktail of prescription medications with severe health implications that resulted in Christopher's medication regimen, in which many of the psychotropic drugs prescribed while at the Methodist Children's Home had to be immediately removed from his medication regimen. Some of these medications, because potential kidney failure may occur sooner than later based upon the comprehensive laboratory tests that were performed. This was discovered shortly after Christopher moved into my home and began to complain of painful, unusual symptoms, in which I sought the best medical help immediately. Chris's compelling story can be found by visiting childrensrights.org, www.childrensrights.org, and many other children like Chris, trapped in the nation's failing child welfare systems. Literally, thousands of other failures identified by Children's Rights in the Michigan Settlement Agreement can also be found on their website. Without my passionate support of children's rights and their mission, I would still feel lost. But I know that if anybody can fix the failing Michigan child welfare system, including the injustices my son suffered while supervised by the Methodist Children's Home Society and the Department of Human Services, that children's rights can and will win this battle. I stand behind children's rights every step of the way. Our family was honored by being invited to New York City in October 2007 for the Children's Rights second annual benefit. This was the first time the kids have ever been to New York City, and what an incredible experience it was. Our family participated in the dinner during the benefit, where the generous supporters and donors mingled with my kids. Some actually provided gifts, high-end basketball shoes, an assortment of basketballs. Both Jay and Christopher were ecstatic, and both are avid basketball fans. We were so warmly received. It was just incredible. We had a great time and got to see so much of the city. It was unbelievable. Well, our family recently found out that we have been honored once again to attend the third annual Children's Rights benefit in New York City on October 14th, 2008. We are so eager to see all of the amazing people we met behind the scenes at Children's Rights. You know, the passion that we experienced while we first visited their offices in 2007 in Manhattan was truly overwhelming and very heartwarming. We hope to see some familiar faces and some of the other kids who have been greatly helped by Children's Rights, just like Chris and Jay have. We saw a lot of these kids last year, as well as we look forward to seeing the incredible and generous supporters and donors who make this all possible. I just want to say thank you, Children's Rights, and we'll see you soon.